Greetings and welcome to Bridging the Gap. I'm Ian Hansen. This is intuitive medium and spiritual advisor Brenda Burgett. Brenda, today on the program we're going to bridge the gap between, well, shall we say, ourselves and the other side, our loved ones, and we're going to commingle some themes from the last program in with this as far as relationships are concerned, but probably get a little further into relationships with those who may not be spouses or perhaps intimate type relationships, physically, maybe more family and things of that nature too. We're talking a little bit about the other side today along with this.
Sounds interesting.
Absolutely, it should be. We'll see what comes through. That's what you always say.
See what comes through.
Okay, I get scared when she doesn't say that, so I had to make sure that she said that. Remember, you can enjoy everything that we say if you'd like to, and we'd love it if you would, on our website through where you're maybe watching right now. That'd be bridgingthegaptv.com, also bridgingthegapwithbrenda.com. Same websites, two different ways to get there. We've made it that convenient. Actually, we owe Shuffy a nod of applause for that, so well done, Shuffy. Actually, he's our tech guy back there. And on YouTube, it's Bridging the Gap on TV. You can go there as well to watch every episode of the program. And Brenda, we've been pretty active. We're going to have a psychic improv. These are our live presentations. We're going to do one of those in our own neck of the woods tomorrow. By the time this airs, it will already be done, but we're looking forward to it.
They're a lot of fun. A lot of different personality types will show up, and we have a nice cross-section of people. I love them, and you were at the last one, and I think you enjoyed it.
I wasn't only at the last one, I was a part of the last one actually, in the hosting role. So no, certainly not. But they are fun. We may be spreading out. In fact, we're hoping to spread out very soon and be doing these in some larger areas around at least our region of the United States first, and then, who knows, maybe worldwide at some point. But you're going to have to learn to speak better Lithuanian, you know.
Oh, I'm good.
People there line up around a block to see her. So.
I've got it. I've got it going.
Okay. Brenda, I lost my favorite goat. Can you find him? So, and she could, too.
Possibly.
Okay. Well, we've got a serious question to open, so I guess we better retract from joking around a little bit here. And we try to have fun with Bridging the Gap. Again, it's part of it. But also, Brenda, there are some things that have to do with very serious subjects that we approach as well. So today, probably going to be featuring a little bit of both, and we're going to start on a pretty serious note. Are you ready for the first viewer question?
I'm ready.
Okay, remember, you can get these to Brenda. She'll address them on a future edition of Bridging the Gap right here on television, on our webcast at least. You can get them to her via those websites we mentioned to you. It's the same website, two ways to get there. Again, bridgingthegaptv.com or bridgingthegapwithbrenda.com. Brenda, the first question comes in from Sandy, and we thank her in advance for this, and it goes as follows. It says, I lost my husband recently and cannot seem to get over it. And Sandy, our condolences on that. If I could just talk to him one more time, I think I might be able to move on. Can he hear me? And that's where her question stops. So again, thank you, Sandy, for sending that in. What would you have to say to Sandy?
He certainly can hear you if he chooses to. And the amazing thing about what I hear from people is it is so unimportant whether you know he hears you or not. Say it. Just talk about it. Just say it. We're energy. Energy can't be created, can't be destroyed. And it's my belief, and not just my belief, that there are people who pass, the people that are important to us, are always available to us. They're clearer, they're there. The only difference is we can't really touch them most of the time, or really hear them. But sometimes we hear them, but they touch us, we can smell them. And they definitely are there. I know they're there. She doesn't say a whole lot about this, but the husband had a long illness. It took a long time for him to finally pass. And at the last part of his illness, he was not really here. It was such relief for him to go that he took off immediately, and then he came back. So in the beginning, there was such guilt on her part because she actually didn't want him to suffer anymore. So the first thing that happened when he died was relief, and then, oh my God, what am I doing? He's gone, he's really gone. And he's free, he's really wants. He's telling her that she should sell there's a piece of jewelry that she's been thinking about getting rid of, and he's telling her not to be sentimental about it, just to let it go.
Perhaps something that meant something between the two of them, a wedding ring, or...
Not a wedding ring, it was something that he, that they bought together. And material things are just so unimportant to him, and she could use the money.
Okay, so there's some lingering effects, I guess, of this. I mean, when people leave physical possessions behind, they are obvious reminders of them. So this can make it more difficult for a person to move on with their life. And Brenda, we all approach the death of a loved one, in this case a spouse, a little differently. I mean, I think we've all known somebody that the spouse of maybe even just a few years has passed on, and it devastates them, and they're never the same person again, really, if you know them your whole life. Also some cases where people are married for 50 or 60 years, and that spouse passes, and it's almost like nothing really phases them in a way. You know they miss them. We know that they're not cruel, but everybody sort of has a different approach to this. Is it all circumstantial, or how much of this is spiritual?
A person will, if it works for them to hang on to the memory, they do. I've known people who have been a widow for the rest of their life, or a widow, or first thing out of their mouth is, well, you know, my wife or my husband died. I just had an encounter with a person that was driving a really cool car, and I said, nice car, and this person said, hi, my wife died last year. I have 6 cars in my garage.
Oh.
And I'm not sure why it was important to him, but it was the first thing in his mind. His wife had died, and everything else was just unimportant. I don't know that it's wrong or right. I don't think it's either way. But, you know, if you really have enjoyed life up until that time, and you know who you are, then you're going to continue. If not, you don't. It's just so totally a choice. And I get a little annoyed, and it really isn't my place to be annoyed. But so many people, once the spouse dies or somebody, they become saints in that person's mind. And I happen to remember that they didn't think of them in that way. So, you know, you use it to your benefit, whether it works or not, to be happy and ready to get on with your life. That's your choice. But it has nothing to do with the person that's gone. They're not really gone. They're still here. They're going to check in with you. It is so unimportant to them if you keep the couch or get rid of the couch. They don't care. Unless they don't know they've gone. And if they've had a lingering disease and they've died in the home or even not in the home, and you try to get rid of the pool table or something, you're going to hear from them.
Haunted pool table.
Oh, absolutely. You're messing with their stuff, and they don't think they're gone.
Wow, all right. So this is really sort of the deepest portion of what we're going to discuss today, I think, is perhaps... I wanted to save this maybe for another show, but let's dig into this. Why not, Brenda?
Let's see what they say.
Because we've seen a lot of different depictions of this, and there are a lot of levels of theory about this, I suppose. Again, no one truly knows what the afterlife holds. People like Brenda, people maybe even like you, if you have a connection to what is spiritual, what has passed on and changed forms, energy-wise. Again, you got to remember that that's one of the golden rules here. Perhaps might be better acquainted with it or feel like they have an idea more so than other people. Maybe it's different for every single one of us. You know, we really can't answer those questions. We're here to explore those mysteries and help you find your own answers. But Brenda, depictions in films such as Ghost and such as Beetlejuice, which is a fun movie, and such as The Frighteners. Didn't we talk about that, Shuffy, saying we had to have a midnight showing of The Frighteners with Brenda Burgett at some time? It's a strange movie that Michael J. Fox did. I remember seeing the box cover and going, Michael J. Fox? What is this? So, all these movies, Brenda, whether you've seen them or not, depict people who have passed on, but there's an intermediate stage. They pass on, and for a while they linger and watch over someone who they loved. And in each case, Ghost, Beetlejuice, you're talking about maybe the house in Beetlejuice, but there's also loved ones, spouses, things of that nature in those films. And then as soon as something is accomplished, maybe some wrong that needs to be righted, whatever, they go away, and it seems as though they're gone forever. And usually the final message is, I'll always be with you, but I'm checking out of here, so see you later. I'm not going to tap you on the shoulder and leave an ectoplasmic trail anymore. So what is the answer there when you talk about someone who has just passed and someone maybe who wants to communicate with a loved one who has been gone from the physical realm for 20 or 30 years?
It's always possible. They're always there. You know, I'm not 100% sure, and of course who would know? Nobody would know. But I do know that they leave their essence here, and even when they're gone, there are traces of them. And they go do other lives. I'm sure they do other lives. Maybe you'll make eye contact in a crowd with somebody you know. Or in my case, look into the eyes of a newborn baby and you know who that baby used to be or who it was. It's fun to play around the edges of the ghost thing. I don't go into the dark side of this. You know, we've talked about that before, and it's certainly there, I'm sure.
Well,
being your basic chicken, I don't want to know a lot about it, but I have had the cold air. When I angered one of the ghosts that I literally were messing with his house, and the cold air and smells, really bad smells.
Doing a clearing?
Well, no, I was helping a friend remodel her house.
Oh, okay.
And we'd walk through there after, and it was just this cold air, and it was summer, just like a blast of air, and we both believed this, so we said, must be what's-his-face, and shook it off. Tearing up the kitchen one time, moved the refrigerator, took the cupboards down. We have no shame when it comes to tearing things up, put them back together. But we smelled this horrible smell like a rotten egg. And I looked at her, she looked at me, we blamed the dog. And eventually the dog was not there, and we both had to have a conversation. He was mad. We were ripping apart his house. And the white shag carpet, and the heavy drapes, and the pool table were not where he remembers them. And he was sitting in a wheelchair. I could see him, and finally, in the living room where the cold air was coming from.
So Brenda, then, was this person, this spirit, lingering in this intermediate layer then between here and the next plane, their refusal to go, there's some attachment to these physical possessions that they had, this place, for example? I mean, this sounds like a haunting, a classic definition of what would be a haunting. Could
very well be. We started checking the background of the house, and there was a gentleman who had dementia, Alzheimer's, we weren't sure, and he had been kept at home for a long time. Eventually something else, he went somewhere else, but I'm sure he had no idea he was gone. I tried helping to get him out of there, but eventually we had to call in somebody else, and we all got rid of him.
Paranormal SWAT had to come in. This was a bigger one then.
It was a bigger one,
wow,
yes.
Really?
He was
okay.
not leaving.
Wow.
And the house still has lots of spirits and ghosts, but this is a lady who loves angels and there's fairies and ghosts, and she welcomes them. And I got a call. It was in Seattle one day. Maybe I've told you this. But anyway, get this call, and had said to me the day before, a really dear friend, she said, I'm ready to see my guides and my angels.
Oh, yes, I remember that.
Yeah, and we had cut a pass through, and she could hardly speak. And she said, this is what's going on. And I see it. It walked right across. I could see it. And I said, isn't that what you just asked for yesterday? So ask, and they're there. They're all around us. They can be. And I have people who, really genuine, neat people who want to see things and can't. Why can't they? Don't have a clue.
Why is seeing so important? Because, you know, Brenda, it seems like we're really talking about something that stretches beyond the five senses that we would have. We're really talking about how you feel so often on Bridging the Gap. You're talking about a sense that really defies definition in a lot of ways, but that's the best way that I think I could put it, probably you could put it as well, or something similar. Just stretch out with your feelings. What it is that you're feeling is the most important part of all of this. So why is the visual confirmation so important for us when it comes to contacting those who have left the physical realm?
What's the connection there? Well, I think it's because we want to see them so badly. We want it because we remember them. We want to see them, want to touch them, want to know they're there. And in some cases, they do reveal themselves. I've seen people that have passed. But often you just get a brush on your cheek. I just heard where one little guy was, one woman who had lost someone, and a 3-year-old boy sitting on the couch beside her came up with something about, why don't you do this, and this needed to be done, why isn't it done? It's exactly what the family member would have said. And it was way beyond the scope of this 3-year-old, so who knows? So let's leap back into the land of the living for a moment then. Okay. And, I mean, some of us are magnificent, let's face it. And I'm not counting myself amongst them, even though they love to razz me about that around here, because I play around, you know, I joke. So there are some pretty fabulous specimens that we have been trained, again, to feel like what physical beauty is. So we understand all of those things that go on in society, and, well, you know, this person could be just as beautiful as this person. If it had been defined that way for 500 years, I got it. But let's face it, there's some fun things about being alive in these vessels. The smell of chocolate chip cookies baking in the oven, the tactile sensations of, you know, running your hand across your favorite cat or dog, I guess, in the morning. I mean, all these wonderful things you could conjure and think of your own images. But Brenda, when we talk about these sensations that are feelings, these things that really defy, again, the explanation of the 5 senses, and we talk about when a loved one passes, needing those confirmations so badly, and they are absent for the most part, I mean, those people are gone, so you try to reach out with your feelings. My question would be, how then can we live a life where we add that 6th sense and work those feelings in so that when people do pass from our lives, even maybe not through death from these bodies, maybe just because they leave us and go overseas, we can remain close to them with this 6th sense. Does that make any sense? It makes perfect sense, and I'm excited about the possibilities. And I believe that eventually we'll be doing that. I think at one time that was the thing that humans did, or whatever was before humans. I think before that was, humans? Perish the thought. Slee stacks. There he goes. We got him. Sorry, I've been thinking about them all day, and so they used to freak me out as a kid. But so it is a neat question. How could, I mean, we enjoy so much about life. You think about sitting on the French Riviera on your honeymoon and all the different things, but how about adding another dimension to that? I mean, to me, that's so exciting to think about. How about astral travel? How about quantum jumping? How about being able to, instead of pick up a phone, communicate with someone with your mind? We do that all the time. We do. We do that all the time. And that's something that's very common. The phone rings and we've been thinking about it. In fact, I have a lot of fun with this. I sometimes will start about noon and tell my husband he needs to take me to dinner. He's strong-willed, though it hardly ever works. They closed the Chuck E. Cheese's here, too, so well, that doesn't work. Usually doesn't happen anymore at all. There's the possibilities are there, and I think they're there. They're ready for us. Anytime we're ready for them. All right. Yeah. Now, I don't want to get off on a holy roll here, Brenda, but I have to say this, okay? Seems like we're dulling, perhaps, not only the possibility of a link to that 6th sense, but also, and again, I really hate people who call out society. I don't hate anybody, I guess, but the thing with, you know, society's fault, society's problem, get over that. I feel like that's a major hump. We're all responsible for what we do, and it's up to us to recognize what society is doing at large. So bear with me when I say society. When I look at it, maybe at a football game or a monster truck rally or a Toby Keith concert, something like that, we've got a lot of alcohol surging through our systems. We've got a lot of ways to really dull even those 5 physical senses that we have. And I'm not bashing having a drink here and there. I'm just saying it seems like we need to get more. I mean, I feel like we need to be roaring towards the goal line of that 6th sense.
And so we got to keep our other 5 in balance, or am I off balance here with that thought, in your opinion? Are we needing to lose some of those other 5 in order to gain an appreciation and get in touch with this 6th one?
First of all, no, you're not. You're right. There's no right. There's no wrong.
I know.
And when you say we need to go roaring toward, it doesn't work. I don't believe it works in that way.
It doesn't work that way.
No, it doesn't work that way. It's a quiet idea, and investigating it, going inside, being willing to accept something that you can't see, touch, or smell sometimes, and opening up your mind and saying, I'm ready for this. Now, a lot of people say, there's evil in the world, there's evil outside the world. You don't want to lose control of your mind. That isn't what I'm saying. I'm not saying lose control of your mind. You know, if you want to, I'm saying go inside, open up, and let's see how it works. Go roaring toward it. I've been roaring my whole life.
Well, that's why I said that. It was all for her. So.
Yeah, I just am ready to maybe rock my way or drive my way or hum my way into whatever's coming next. It doesn't have to be hard. If it's too hard, you're doing it wrong, I think.
I'm going to crochet my way, I think, to where I'm going next. So I don't even know how to do that, but that could be something.
I bet he knows how. I'll bet he's a closet crocheter. Come on, you can tell us.
That sounds like a lost episode of Springer that didn't make the final cut for season 12, you know, or what are they on now? Season 48? That show's been on too long. So anyway, Brenda, again, this is such a fascinating area to explore, that other side. And that's really what Bridging the Gap is all about. That is what's on the other side of this bridge, no matter what it is that we talk about, whether it's relationships, whether it's spiritual presence, whether it's extraterrestrials, whether it's Wookiees and Sasquatches, maybe Wookiees and Sasquatches living together, mass hysteria.
Oh my goodness.
It's all what's on the other side of this bridge.
Now you're going to say that's okay, I suppose.
Hey, what other show could mix in Sleestaks, Wookiees, and Sasquatches within 8 minutes? I'd like to give us a big prop right now.
I think we've got the handle on that one. Totally.
So this is all about self-exploration and sort of taking a gaze through the mist at what might be on the other side of the bridge, and then not being so frightened to take a step or two across it every once in a while. You can always toe backwards, but it would be wonderful to think that we could keep going one plank at a time.
Exactly, and you don't have to be a psychic junkie. Once you allow yourself to start thinking, it's like you want to gather all the crystals and all the whatevers, and you want to just live this, and it's like you can't stand your neighbor because he still mows his yard every other whatever. You're still here, and as long as you're here. But when you really want the next step, you just ask, and your guides will come, your teachers will come. And Buddha didn't say that. That's a Sanskrit thing. When the students ready, the teachers will come.
Yeah.
So, ask. Well, the Bible says ask.
And ye shall receive, right?
Right.
Right.
But we don't really have to go roaring after it. And we don't have to make it our life mission. If we still have to live in the world, we still have to live in the world. I still have to sell real estate.
Well, you don't have to, but you choose
if
to.
I want, yes, if I would like to make my mortgage payment, and
Yeah.
and you can work whatever you have to do into this. Right now, at this stage in my life, it is the center of my universe. I want to know, but I'm also very cautious about some of the things that I always have been, because I was raised very fundamentalist Christian and still give them all the respect in the world. But I don't want to go off on the deep end. I don't want to find things that are scary and weird to me. And I think God's source will guide me and let me know what's next. All of this is possible.
Yes.
All of this is possible. It's already proven that you can. ESP has been around forever. And I don't think anybody in their right mind would say there's no such thing as there's never been an alien spaceship, and there's never been a gray looking at you in the middle. And I know darn well that's probably happened. So it's exciting.
It is exciting.
Very exciting.
Yeah, and again, that's the kind of thing we explore here. And hard to compartmentalize these programs in a lot of ways too, Brenda.
Yes.
So if you watch Bridging the Gap and you say, well, you started with one thing and went to another and then ended with something completely different, we love that. That's what we really like about this, because we get a chance to go back and tiptoe, I should say, through the exploration of all of these things, sort of when they come through, as you said, and we say at the outset of a lot of these programs, we'll see what comes through. And again, this is all live and unscripted. Well, we record it live and you watch it recorded, and you know, Shuffy doesn't like to do a whole lot of editing. It cuts into a lot of his ESPN2 time, so we just go for it, and you basically see the outcome. And you can do this for yourself, I think, in quiet contemplation. Get together in groups and talk over a game of pinochle, or...
But for Pete's sakes, don't get together and scare each other to death. Don't make this a Wednesday, every Wednesday night we're going to go and we're going to try to contact Aunt Matilda or something. I mean, if you really want to do that, go for it. But, you know, work within your comfort zone. You want to know, want to be able to talk to someone who's passed, find a quiet place and talk to them.
Well, it's pretty obvious that I at least try to have a decent sense of humor, and I know that Brenda does as well.
Try.
Well, so it isn't as though we're offended by when these kinds of phenomenon are treated like parlor tricks, but it seems like that's a lot of what you'll see out there. You know, you'll see the ghost hunters where they walk through some dilapidated old building with infrared cameras and say, what was that noise? Did you hear that? I mean, it's a waste of my time. I'm not interested in that, but if you like it, that's great. And Brenda, what I think it does is it scratches the surface and makes the approachability possible for people who would never have thought about it otherwise. So there's sort of a step-by-step set of phases that's going on here in my mind that is being set up so that this becomes more and more approachable day by day, and so that the changes that are already occurring and are going to happen in our world are easier for people when they get here. They're more ready to embrace them.
And when they're ready, and stay within your own comfort zone. If it frightens you, don't do it. You know, if you don't want to believe it, don't believe it. It has to be on your level where you're comfortable and you get just exactly what you need when you need it. Ask and it'll be there.
Yeah, very true. So again, identify these things for yourselves. We should probably start every program with this, Brenda, but no need to change anybody's mind, no need to convince anybody of anything that you or I say. Again, for the most part, we're not sedentary in our thoughts. They are always changing. Our beliefs are always changing. I think mine are always open to the possibility of change, and for me that works. If you need to arrive at something that's an absolute, that's a truth for you, good, find it and stay there.
Exactly.
But maybe think about, you know, leaving a little bit of wiggle room just in case, because I think, and again, this is just me talking, but I think that that's where people can get into a little bit of trouble, is they hardline so much on one belief, they're not willing to wriggle at all, and they get stuck later on down the road in their life, and I would hate to see that. So I think you want to leave a little crack in the window open so that you can raise that puppy open if you really need to go through it.
You might get to go to the spaceship and have a trip. Free trip. I'm always up for a trip without luggage.
We had Psychic Junkie, and maybe you can go to the spaceship and have a trip.
Yeah. Hey, I'm ready.
Yes. There's a big Cheshire cat behind us that you can't see. It's up on top of this bamboo screen, actually. So was that the one? No, that wasn't the thing smoking the hookah pipe, was it, in Alice in Wonderland? What was that? Was it?
The cat.
Was it the cat? I thought it was the caterpillar. It was the caterpillar. There's some people screaming right now at their computer. You idiot, it was the caterpillar. Philadelphia, you're right, it was the caterpillar. So.
Or not.
Brenda Burgett, thanks for the time as always.
It's been fun.
It has been fun. We're out of time. We were going to address another question, but we'll get to it on the next edition of Bridging the Gap. I'm Ian Hansen, reminding you, until the next time we talk, to enjoy your existence, folks, and we will talk to you again very soon.